Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Titleless Musings and today I have a brand new journal with me for you. So today we are going to be examining, I guess, Katseye's newest release, which is the Wild EP. So I'm going to let this journal spread play out in the background and talk a little bit about my thoughts on the album in case you are new here and you've never seen me do an album release before. I will say, just for what it's worth, this album title, I traced it. I made like the spread a couple days before. I kind of pre-planned everything with pencil, as you can see. This album title kind of splashed the graphic for it. Genuinely the biggest pain. I could not figure out how to make it look good, so please excuse that. We're gonna kind of pretend that we don't see that because it did not turn out very well. So that's where I'm gonna leave that part, and I will start going song by song, I guess. So obviously the album starts with Pinky Up, which was released as a single. When I first heard Pinky Up, I think I even talked about it on this channel, I just didn't feel like it was a great representation of Katseye. I agreed with a lot of comments about, it feels like it's kind of falling down that TikTokification of music, but I did really enjoy it at Coachella. I'm not gonna lie, Coachella did kind of change my mind on it a little bit, but it was still just like an okay song. I will say, I think hearing it in the context of the album, playing the album all the way through, Pinky Up makes a lot of sense. It fits a lot more. It's still not my favorite song, okay? There has yet to be a song that has made me feel the way that Mean Girls feels. But Pinky Up, I definitely think is better when it's contextualized with the rest of the album. And I actually found myself really enjoying it. Because I was listening, my first listen was actually while I was making the spread. So that's why it sped up so much, is because I just kept, pausing to go listen to it. So then we move on to track 2, which is Animal. I haven't talked about this one on my channel yet. This was another one that was released as a single. I don't think this is a bad song, per se. This is another one, though, where I feel like when you put it into the context of the whole album, it changes your perspective on the song. Because, like I said, it's not a bad song. It's certainly fun. I don't agree with people that say it's too simple. Maybe it's because I'm, bad at dancing. But I think that it's a good song. But in the context of the album, I just found that it felt... it was like there was something that was missing. On its own as a single, I think it's fine, but then you have the rest of the album, and it was just like, I wanted more from it. So this is one where I would almost say that it's the opposite of Pinky Up, where I think it should have stayed a single, if I'm honest. Then we move on to Hootie Fruity, which I'm going to put a pin in for now. I'm going to move past that because I want to talk about that more in depth. So I'm going to jump to Bel Air first. This one, really liked. I think it's my second favorite song on the album. I couldn't decide on the day that I was actually filming this, because, like I said, this was the day it came out, which is when I filmed all this. But it's a really good song. I think it was unexpected. It very much reminds me of the Sis era, old Soft is Strong. I think that it's, it almost gives me, holiday vibes. I don't know why, because there's nothing Christmassy about it or anything like that, but when I was listening to it, I was like, this is, on my list of songs that is nothing to do with Christmas and yet makes me think about Christmas. But I like it a lot. I think the only thing, if there's kind of one critique, I don't know if I love, the repetition of the syllables, in the word mine, how it's my, I don't know if I like that. But I like the song as a whole, and like I said, I think that's very much a throwback to the Soft is Strong era, and yeah, I really liked it. I think it's become kind of my second favorite from the album, and that is because, of course, our queen, That Way. I know that people are really torn on this one, maybe not so much as Hootie Fruity, but you see very conflicting opinions on this. I love That Way. I'm gonna be honest, it's my only song on the album that is a perfect 10 out of 10. I think it blends that kind of camp-esque vibe that they're going for. It doesn't take itself too seriously, it's fun. Someone said it reminds them of, Ariana Grande. What was it? It was the album that was Thank You Next, wasn't it? Oh no, it was. I think it was one after that was Positions. That's the song that they keep, saying it reminds them of. I'm not big into Ariana Grande, so I honestly I can't really compare, but I love That Way. Again, I think that it is different. I think that it is fun. It's one of those songs that just makes you want to get up and dance. So That Way for me is my, like I said, my top song, my only one that is a 10 out of 10. But now that I've finished going over those, I do want to circle back to Hootie Fruity. So, first of all, the song in and of itself, I don't hate, actually. I'll be honest, it's not entirely my kind of genre or my beat sort of thing. I don't listen to a lot of music like Hootie Fruity, but it's one that I don't think it's a bad song. It's a bit like Gnarly. I didn't like Gnarly when it came out, but it does kind of grow on me, and I find myself like thinking about it a lot. I can see the same with Hootie Fruity. I agree that Danny really took this era, but in my opinion, the one who stood out to me most as a Lara bias was Yoonjae. I think that Yoonjae just really seems to be shining this era. And I love the $20 smoothies in LA line. It's so, like, you know that it's not being entirely serious, and that's what makes the line so much better. I saw people critiquing it as feeling like they're just doing random rhymes, which is a fair critique. For me, though, I think there's also some of that, like, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and I think that's part of Catseye's appeal. Now, I left this to the end because I was going to talk a little bit about the music video. I've read a lot of opinions on this. Here are my thoughts on the music video. For me, I didn't like the music video, I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's because of different reasons than everybody else. For example, I'm like big into feminist theory and studying like LGBTQ history and things such as. I don't think it is fair to critique the music video on what the girls are wearing. Period. I don't think that that's okay. It wouldn't be okay even if it was a group of young adult men. I think that that is very outdated. I think there can be a difference between saying that you don't necessarily think something is age appropriate and kind of putting that blame back on what a person is wearing. I don't think that's fair. That's not the point that I want to make on this at all. I think that for me, kind of the way that I watched it, it's a shame because it feels like the music video is very much trying to target the idea that sex sells, as opposed to saying we have these beautiful, confident, amazing, and talented young women who are doing well of their own accord. It doesn't matter what they're wearing. It doesn't matter. None of that matters other than the fact that they are incredibly talented at what they do. It bothers me when people continue to make comments about, well, where are their clothes? I don't like their stylist for this. We can agree on maybe like, are these the best looks they've ever worn? No. But I think that we start to walk very rocky territory when we suggest things like, where are their clothes? This is not appropriate for kids kind of thing. It cannot be appropriate for kids because of the content of the video and not necessarily what they're wearing. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that. For the video though, like I said, watching it, it's not, like, again, I don't have an issue with the outfits and things like that. I understand that it's also giving a lot of homage to Britney Spears. For me, what was disappointing about watching it is there are such talented young women in this group, and it's frustrating that, like the close-up twerking shots, I don't have a problem with it being a twerking shot. That's not the issue. The move is not the problem. The problem is that it's like, okay, again, now we're just selling the idea of what do they look like in these clothes, as opposed to look at how good they are, look at how talented they are, and what their dance and their choreography is like. So that's kind of my sense on the video. I didn't like the video for that reason. Like I said, I just think we walk very fine lines when we start to critique what people are wearing. And a lot of that goes back to abuse culture. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. I think that the song itself is great. I think that the girls did a great job on this album. It's not my favorite album, I'm not gonna lie. I think I would probably give this like a 6 or 7, but I think that the video is a different issue than the song. So those are my 2 cents. Sorry to get so deep there at the end. We are now coming to the end of this video. I appreciate you hanging out with me this entire time. If you did enjoy, please do remember to leave a like and subscribe, as it really does help the channel. I'm just finishing coloring in the Katseye logo because I did, or the Katseye title, I guess, their names. I did it in different colors as well, so it was like a cute little ombre. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.